Hi everyone. I would like to welcome you all to our Emerge Multiplier event. It's great to have you all here today and thanks for joining. I know there's a lot of Zoom calls going on at the minute, so it's great to have you here with us. I'm Catherine Neal. I work for the European E-Learning Institute. We're an institute based in Denmark, in Copenhagen. So we are a participant and a partner in the Emerge project. The Emerge project is an Erasmus Plus project, which you might know, and it's a project that aims to empower female entrepreneurs into engineering sectors. So what our team found was in our early research that there was a shift to the STEM sector for women, and there was a real drive to get women into science, technology, engineering, and maths. But the only issue with this is that women still remain quite low in numbers in entrepreneurship in engineering. So our project aims to increase those numbers by giving the women access to high quality, free, open access materials and resources and supports, which will allow the shift to kind of confidence and educational resources. It also means that the educators have access to these strong resources that they can bring to their engineering students. And we hope that it will give them a foothold and give them the confidence to make that step to creating their own business. And whether that is in mechanical engineering, structural engineering, there are many different faculties and sectors. So we'll hear a little bit more about that later when we speak to one of our female engineers. But our project aims to bring some of the best practice across Europe. And within this project, we have partners from Poland. So we have two partners from Poland. We have NOT and we have Zoot. We are the Danish partner, EUEI. We have a Norwegian partner, NCWT. Our Turkish partner is Ege University, and our Irish partner is Momentum Consulting. So today we will take you through an overview of our project, who we are and what we aim to achieve. And you'll see a little bit of our project website where we house all of the materials. And it's a nice platform that gives access, open access to all of our resources. But as well as that, it gives an opportunity for users to interact and engage with our partners. So we have all our partner information up there. So if you want to contact any of our partners, get involved, or learn more, you can reach out to any of the partner organizations and we'll be happy to give you more information or point you in the right direction of the resources that are right for you. We also have some ongoing news and blogs on what we're getting up to. The project has been running for 2 years. It will be ending now at the end of November, and we are delighted that we have created a suite of materials that are strong, high quality resources, which we hope will be really useful for many sectors across Europe. So we will today with my team showcase those resources to you, and as I said, then we will speak to our engineering expert, Rachel Montague, later in the day. We will then break off after our coffee break. We'll then break off into our breakout rooms for some activities, and we're going to do some brainstorming, just get to know kind of what the other engineers work in, because we all know that there is this overarching stereotype of engineering, especially mechanical engineering, as being kind of a dirty job. You're wearing your overalls and you're out on site. However, that's not how it is today. So through this project, we've kind of broadened our view of it and broadened our oversight of how engineers work. And a lot of them do work day to day in an office, the same as many jobs. So it's nice to see a new image being put forward. So what we're going to do is break out into these small breakout rooms. Our host will break these out into smaller groups where you can then have a little chat, some icebreakers, and get to know each other. And then after that, we'll do some work on the Padlets, and that's a little bit of brainstorming for everyone to get involved in. So we hope that you enjoy the rest of our event, and I'm now going to hand you across to my colleague Anya, and Anya will take you through our project website.
Okay, so like Catherine said, my name is Anya. I am also a part of the EUI team, a project officer here. And so I will showcase the website today. So first off, the web address, it will be the most useful point to start. So it is mergeengineers.eu. So if you type that into the web address bar at the top of your screen, it will take you to the home page as you see it now. So you will, as you arrive on the website, this is what it will look like. There's a small chunk of text here, just a snippet of information outlining to our users that this is an EU Erasmus project, bringing together partners and experts from Poland, Denmark, Norway, Turkey and Ireland. So under here, there's another small chunk of text which outlines our aim of the project. So it hopes to increase the number of female entrepreneurs in engineering by transforming their access to and the quality of training they receive from entrepreneurship, vet and HEI institutions. So we have a small call to action for users as soon as they arrive onto the website. And we ask you to, first of all, join our online social media, which is a community of engineers, lecturers and business advisors and education providers. So we have Facebook and other social media platforms where anybody who's interested in this topic of entrepreneurship and engineering can go and find out more and connect with our partners. So here we have selected an image of the COO of Facebook called Sheryl Sandberg. I'm not sure if you can see the quote there. A wee bit of it just says, "Women don't take enough risks. Men just foot on the gas pedal. We're not going to close the achievement gap until we close the ambition gap." So that's just an overall sort of sums up this project. We want females female students or who are wishing to enter into a new workforce to consider engineering. The project really enforces this notion that it's not a man's sector, that it's open for everybody. And we have included a short a link here to Cheryl's. She did a speech on delivered to the Harvard Business School, a graduating class. So if you click this link, not sure if this will work, but hope it does. So it's a short video, and if you have a few minutes to spare, it's very insightful and inspiring to women everywhere hoping to enter into this new field, and really encourages different STEM projects that are available out there. So if you scroll down, you will see the latest news section. So this is where we house all of our blogs that were written by the project partners over the past couple of years. And so it really just gives different relevant subjects, latest news articles that we think will be appropriate and of use. So one of them here is about for emerge graduates finding your next opportunity, and outlines some new tips that could be useful. And another one is to unlock your entrepreneurial business. So what does it take to be a successful entrepreneur? And talks about different technology skills that will help you along the way. So if we scroll back up to the top, so when we create our project websites, we like to keep in mind a few things. Firstly, that it will be accessible to all of our visitors and users. We like to make sure that the text is easy to read and very responsive to a range of different devices. So if you're on your mobile phone or if you're on a laptop or desktop, that the website will show the website in the most in the best manner for your device. So we also like to make sure that it is very appealing. So our partners in Momentum, they designed the logo here and the colors that you see, and so we took that and really wanted to keep that in line with the project ethos, and keep it all nice and colourful, and we select images that are engaging, and it's good to break up the content as well. So we've had the project, we created the project website 2 years ago in the end of 2018, and since then I think we've had over 10,000 visitors. So it's great to see that our resources are being used, and that the project is being accessed and is of value. So here is the About Us page, and this is an overview of the project, the context. So if we have some new visitors to the website, they should be able to come to this page and find out everything they need to know about the project. So it talks a bit about why we introduced this project, why it came about. That the problem was that VET and HEI institutions were ill-equipped to educate females in engineering to access this entrepreneurial opportunities, and so we wanted to build their business skills. So it talks a bit about again our goal of the project, and then what we will do to achieve this goal. So establish 3 sustainable cross-sector partnerships between stakeholders and entrepreneurship, creating a roadmap for other regions to follow our example. To create and publish the Emerge roadmap to facilitate the replication of regional partnerships across Europe. Develop and implement and publish a suite of multilingual educational resources entitled Female Startup Engineering for Teachers and Trainers Working in Entrepreneurship to update their knowledge and skills. And then design and implement innovative learning placements for 40 young female engineers with startup potential and high growth engineering enterprises. So again, it talks a bit about our target group and the different stakeholders that we hope to engage with. And yes, again, everything you need to know about the project is in this short piece of text. And we've included some nice images there again to make it more engaging and break up the text a bit more. So if we go over to the project partners, this will take you to the different websites of all our partners. So if you want to find out more information about the work that individual partners do, this is where you can find it all. So if I click this link, so this is our website, and it should take you there. Yeah, so this is our project website, and if you want any more information on us, then you just scroll down and you'll find some contact information and other projects that we have been a part of, that are also house different resources and materials that could be of use. So again, if all these links take you to the individual partners. And if I take you to the news section, so here you'll see all the blogs we have created over the past 2 years. Again, like I said, just we researched, the newest trends and the latest topics that are of relevance and interest to this topic. So again, looking at we have a few top engineering podcasts that are useful. We use different multimedia throughout, so there's video links there, and everything, and we have different languages available. So we have a few Turkish and a few Polish blogs as well. Okay, so let's go back up, and here you'll see the join us on Facebook link. So if we click into here, this should take us to the Facebook project Emerge project page. So you can see that we have over 400 followers on this page, and it allows followers to engage with partners. If they have any questions, they can come onto the page and comment, and we make sure that we're very active on the page, and we share all relevant material that we can find. So you'll see a few news articles here from The Guardian and weforum.org. So just talking about how gender diversity in engineering, how only 11% of architects and engineers are women, and how to build a new pipeline for female talent. So we can go back out of that. So the last thing is the online learning portal. So this is where we house all of the material that we have developed since 2018. So partners have been working hard to research and create content that is of the most value and relevance to our target group. So I will briefly take you through the open educational resources, and then my colleague Canis will come on and present the rest of the outputs. So this output was developed by our partner in Ireland, Momentum. So the Emerge suite of open educational resources were designed with a female engineering entrepreneurial focus in mind. So they were developed to have an inherent regional adoption capacity and facilitate innovative teaching to female engineers. So the Emerge OERs were the first of its kind of female startup engineering skills. So the curriculum also consists of 9 modules. So here's a small infographic or image of the learning objectives and course overview. So we have, like I said, 9 modules, and each of the little subtopics are outlined here. So you can, before you even dive into the OERs, you can see what you're going to learn or teach. So if I scroll down here, you will see the module 1. So Emerge Engineering, where are the women? And if you click on the link here, you will see it will download as a PowerPoint. I'm not sure if you can see that, but it's downloading here, and then that will be on your documents, and you can use it, come back to it whenever you're able to. This is the good thing about the OERs. They're accessible at any time and free to download and use and adapt any way that you would like. So this is the 9 modules. Validate your business startup idea is module 2. Module 3 is unlock your entrepreneurial business. Module 4, undertake a proof of concept process. Module 5, choose your business model. Module 6, marketing for success. Module 7, get external support. Module 8, getting investor ready. And module 9 is collaboration for success. So down here is the additional resources that come along with the modules. So this is a downloadable pack. So far it's great to see that we've over 290 downloads, and hopefully it continues. And here you will see the download the trainer's guide that will help facilitate educators in delivering the curriculum. And over here is download OERs, qualifications, assessment framework, and indicators. So that's basically all you need to deliver this course. Again, it's very adaptable to your own needs. And yes, hopefully everybody will find it very accessible and easy to use. Hopefully everybody can access the website fine, and we really encourage you to come and view our resources, get in touch with us on Facebook, and browse through all of our blogs. Okay, so I'll hand you back over to Catherine, who will hopefully take it from here.
We're just going to take a quick 10-minute coffee break, let you go and get a cup of coffee and come back refreshed and ready to hear from Canis. And Canis is going to run us through our online learning platform, where we have lots of interesting and engaging content collated by all of the partners all across Europe. So we'll see you in 10 minutes.
Hi everyone, welcome back. Hope you all have your coffee and you're ready to hear a little bit more about the project. So I'm going to hand over to Canis, and he's going to share his screen with you and take you through some of our resources.
Hi everyone. Can you see me okay? Yeah. So I'm Canis Hamill. I'm the Managing Director of the European E-Learning Institute. We're a partner in the Emerge Engineers project. We were responsible, we were fully engaged in the project, but we were particularly responsible for the development of the online learning platform, which I'm going to take you through now. And I believe You've had earlier sessions on different other aspects of the project. So I'm just going to share my screen now, and then we're going to take you through the materials. Okay, so hopefully you can all see that, yeah. Okay, so the easiest way to take you through the materials is always it's an open online platform. Is to do it via the website. So here we have the navigation system. So as you can see, we have the online learning portal. So it's very easy navigation system, very intuitive, very clear layout. We like to think very Scandinavian actually. A few people in the pilot testing have commented on that. So, and particularly what we're interested in today is the open online platform. So as you can see, the platform is available in all 3 languages. And as we're holding this multiplier event today in English, I'll take you through the English version of the online platform. But you can be assured that the similar functionalities exist in the Polish and the Turkish versions also. So if we just click into the online platform. So the online platform comprises 7 different outputs and 7 different functionalities and 7 different applications, all of which are contributing all of which have a unique function, and all of which are contributing to the project aim, which is to encourage more entrepreneurship within the female engineering sector. So if we start with we'll start at the bottom with the learning modules. So we have you just click on the platform it takes you straight to the learning modules, and here we can see our course overview. Here we go. So we can see that we have 9 modules. We have a brief overview of what each of the modules comprise. I'll take you through that in a moment. And you can see it's quite sort of bright and colorful and engaging, and ties in very much with the Emerge branding and the Emerge logo. So we scroll down and you can see we have the 9 modules here. And you can download further. We also have a qualifications framework. We have a trainer's guide if you want to deliver it in a classroom environment, and you can download it all so you can download them individually and work your way through them, or you can download them as a zip file all in one go. So if we just take a quick look at a few of the modules, you can also see that it's been a very popular course already, and I imagine that they believe in increase in popularity. So for example, module 1 has been downloaded 342 times. We take a quick look at module 2. So here we have the module 2 is with validating your engineering startup idea. So as you said, the project is very much about entrepreneurship and very much about engineering. So as we can see here, it's about validating your engineering idea startup. We can click through, and then each module contains a certain number of sections or chapters. It starts with an overall learning objective for the module. So it's about sparking your interest in entrepreneurship and helping you kickstart your business idea and come up with new and further other business ideas. So in this module, you learn how to validate and incubate your entrepreneurship ideas, define your target market, and identify your unique selling points. So it explains this a little bit further. In terms of validating your engineering and/or STEM entrepreneurship idea, is anyone else doing what you want to start doing? So is it going to be a Me Too business, or is it going to be unique? If not, there may be a good reason why not. Is your business idea new? Will it work? Validation will give you more insight into the viability of the idea. Incubating your engineering and STEM entrepreneurship, why and how you should incubate your business idea. So looking at the incubation process, it's almost like bringing something to incubation is like bringing something to fruition. So it's something that you need to consider and research and take some time over, and then define and fine tune your business idea. So what you're looking at is, rather than just maybe starting with the first idea that comes into your head, take some time to mull it over, to incubate it, and then upon careful consideration and thought and research, you'll be better able to refine the idea and define it better for the market, define it better for your customer needs. So you're defining its benefits and features, you're finding and measuring your value proposition, and you know your unique selling points. So that's the overview of what this module will contain. And then if we look at the various then slides and activities that are contained within the module, the processes, you work your way through each of the individual slides. Some of them are information, some of them will be for example, like this one, a little bit motivational. Some of them will be contain little mini case studies, some of them will have videos, some of them will have additional resources or exercises for you to undertake. Usually we start each module starts at the broad element, so considering everything in the round and then refining it and getting more specific, so to build an initial understanding of the particular topic of that module, then drilling down through some case studies, some theory, and then working right down then to the actual, almost like homework for the startup entrepreneur, doing the actual research, completing the marketing plan, considering the finances. So we start at the broad level and work our way down to more specific, to the, I think the term is now the granular level. And that's the process for each of the modules. So as you can see here, it's very much geared. The imagery is, when our target audience is very much a female one, very much one engaged in engineering. So the imagery reflects that, and also what we've tried to do as a project and as a project consortium, because all of the partners were involved in this development process, is to make it really appeal and relevant to our target audience. So that's a little bit about one of the modules. You'll probably be pleased to hear that I'm not going to take you through all 9 modules, but we're going to move on, because this is just one aspect, one small aspect, in fact, of the online learning portal. So back to the actual portal.
Sorry, Canis, just to let everyone know, those modules are available for download. I think there was an issue with the screen sharing there. Sometimes when you open up the PowerPoint, it can cause an issue with the screen share. So if you do want to have a look at the individual modules, I'll pop the link into the chat, and you can have a look there.
Okay, yes, I should have. Yeah, should I do that again? No, it's fine. Okay, well, actually, what I'll do is I can share my screen again, so I can. And okay, so we take you through the learning modules. Yeah, that's I should have been more aware of that. And then if we look at module 2, I'll not actually, because they did hear me what I was saying. Yeah. Okay, so what I need to do is I need to stop the screen share and then start a new screen share with the overview of the module. So I'm going to stop that. I'm going to stop sharing the website, and I'm going to share my screen again. Share this particular screen. So this is the actual. You've heard me talk all about module 2. This is now actually what module 2 looks like. So we talked about it starts with the introduction, and what will be included in the module, the learning objective of the module, the overall concept and topic, and then breaking those down in a little bit more detail into each of the sub-learning modules or the sub-learning objectives. And each module is structured in this way. So as you heard me talk about, it's about validating and incubating your engineering idea. You heard me talk about the imagery and how it's our target audience for the course is very much female engineers who may be considering setting up a business or who are in the process of setting up their own business. So we've tried to tailor it and brand it for our demographic, for our client audience. So here we have, female imagery, engineering imagery. What we've also tried to do is to make it very appealing and welcoming, and something that draws you in, and a course that you actually want to do and complete. So as I say, it starts with the broad, and then gets more narrow, more granular into the detail of the particular topic. Here's some top tips. I'm just flicking through these to give you an idea of the appealing design and the layout of the course. Again, more top tips, action points, make a wish list, and describe the customer worldview. So, and as we progress on down, there are worksheets and videos and so on and so forth. So I'm going to stop sharing this screen now, and I'm going to go back then to the online learning platform and take you through some other aspects of that. Okay, so we're back on the online learning platform. Yeah, we can all see the online learning platform now. Yeah.
Yes.
So there are different elements within. So I've already covered the learning modules. So if we look, then let's think outside the box and start from the bottom. Shall we do that as the little image suggests? So our special interest groups then are, I'll just click into the special interest groups. So what this is a range of podcasts and blogs and interesting articles, which collectively we as a consortium have curated. And by curated, I mean we have assessed a lot of possible resources and selected the best ones, so that people aren't wasting time trying to find relevant or useful or insightful resources. And as a consortium, we have done that hard work for our target audience of female engineers who are interested in entrepreneurship. And what we like to think this curation process means that it's like a quality stamp, and that runs throughout all of the resources, but particularly so in the special interest groups. So here we have a mixture of, as I say, podcasts. So for example, here we have the one about the gold digger, quite a well-known podcast on Spotify. Here we have some TED Talks. I'm sure everyone is familiar with TED Talks. A hugely beneficial resource, but also a huge resource. So we've spent the time in spending hours and days going through the TED Talks and assessing them and selecting the best ones. And we selected the 13 best ones here. Here we have some Instagram stories, some Instagram posts on solutions for engineers. We have another podcast here specifically on women in engineering. So as you can see, a lot of work has been done in the research phase to identify insightful and valuable resources, which will be of real benefit to women who are working as engineers and who are interested in setting up their own business. So again, the Women in Tech, again, another well-known podcast, the Women in Tech Show, the entrepreneur motivation show. So while most of the resources here deal specifically with women in tech or female engineers, we also have some particularly useful ones regarding entrepreneurship in general, and the entrepreneur motivation podcast is a good example of that. So here we have one in Polish, another one in Polish show. These special interest groups are not just in English, they're also available in Turkish and in Polish. I have to apologize, I don't know what this one is, but if we have any Polish people on our multiplier event today, I'm sure that makes sense to you. So that gives you an idea of the special interest groups. Very valuable resources. As a consortium, we spent a long time and discussions, well, both researching and discussion, what should be included, what shouldn't be included. So back to our platform. And again, moving on then to the blog section. So the blogs, again, sort of following on from that research and curation process of the special interest groups, all the partners were involved in identifying, both identifying and also writing, unique and interesting blogs of particular relevance to our target audience, and which is, as I say, female engineers who are or in the process of starting a business, or who are interested in starting a business. So again, going through our blogs here, here's some an actual blog about the actual project. So we can see some information about the project. Again, you can see the imagery is quite nice. So we can click to the blog here. We can also access the blog from the side menu here. The screen share is going okay, yeah. So yeah, then we have some information from the partner. So this was a blog about the plenary meeting in Turkey. It'll be in Turkish. Some blogs on entrepreneurship in general. Again, you can see the imagery here, really nice. Difficult roads lead to beautiful destinations. Set your mindset as a female entrepreneur. Again, very relevant to the topic. So a mixture of interesting articles and blogs that we've identified ourselves through our research and curation process, combined with some blogs developed by the consortium, by the partners on the project. So you can see here again, and similar to the special interest groups, the blogs are available in English and in Turkish and in Polish. So here we have one in Polish.
I would just like to interject, Canis, and say that if any of the listeners today are interested in writing a blog post, getting in touch, or if you have a podcast maybe that you host and you would like us to feature you on our blog section, please do get in touch, and Anya will pop our contact information in, and you can send us a little email, and we'll get on that.
Thank you very much for that, Catherine. Yeah, and certainly, you know, again, that's a good point. We see this as a living resource. The resources here, the project is coming to an end, but the resources will be available for a minimum of at least another 3 years, and probably much longer than that. And we want to keep updating and sustaining the Emerge Engineers project. So the more engagement we can have from you, our participants, and from our learners, the better. So if there's anything that you feel strongly about, that you want to promote, or of interest, or you think might be of interest to female engineers starting up their own business, please get in touch. Please send us the link, and we'll do our best to work with you to promote it and to use it as a resource for our learners. Then just continuing on through the online platform. So as you can see, it's a significant resource. I mean, that's now that's now there's 7 elements, 7 resources within the open online platform, and we've been through 3 of them. So just sort of carrying on. So here we have the virtual talks. Again, nice imagery inviting you in. Hello, welcome. Please come and investigate and interrogate this. So the virtual talks then, these were examples of again, this curation process and research process by the partners in the 3 languages on best practice in female engineers setting up an entrepreneurship. So here we have a video player, which with a wide variety of topics of interesting information relevant to the project. And the idea is that I'll stop that rather than sort of talking over Cassandra. So you can see that it's very much female inspired. It's in the different languages. There is a clear pathway as to what the topic will be covered. The learners can take confidence from the fact that as a consortium, as a partnership, we have reviewed and evaluated, and we've only included those resources, those videos, those talks, which are directly relevant and which we know if you spend 20 minutes watching it, you're not going to be wasting your time watching it. And like I say, they're in the different languages. You can see that there's a significant amount of them. We have quite a lot in Polish. We have quite a lot in Turkish. And with the video player embedded here, it's I'll just pause that one. With the video player here, they're very easy to access. Again, intuitive and welcoming in its design. I suppose the other thing I should mention is that the open online platform is fully optimized across all for delivery across all platforms. So it works perfectly on a mobile phone, it works perfectly on a tablet, it works perfectly on a laptop, and it resolves differently on each of those three different environments. And by resolve, what I mean is it shows it works differently in each of those three environments. So if you're looking at the open online platform on a phone, it will be optimized for viewing on a phone. If you're looking at it on a laptop, it will be optimized to give you the best possible learner experience for working on a laptop. So that's the virtual talks. I see Catherine here is indicating to me that I need to speed up a bit. So she is like, so we'll move on quickly because I think we're just about halfway through. So we've done the learning modules, we've done the special interest groups, we've done the blogs, we've done the virtual talks. So then let's take a look at the knowledge exchange platform. So this is our knowledge exchange platform was to allow communication between female entrepreneurs interested in the project, interested in setting up their business, and this was a forum where they could discuss and share resources and experiences and ask for help. And it's a private Facebook group. We found that worked particularly well. Everyone knows the technology and everyone's comfortable with it. It was also great that if there was if people wanted to have some bilateral or one-to-one discussions outside the platform and with Facebook as the overarching environment, they could do that in a safe and controlled way. And also the beauty as well about using these closed Facebook groups as a collaboration platform is that it's very much GDPR compliant. There's very little, and again, because it's a private group, we can filter out spam and phishing. So you have to apply to join a group and let people in. So that worked particularly well. So then the knowledge exchange, so just two more to do. The knowledge exchange workshops. So we can see here that the knowledge exchange workshops were delivered in English and Turkish and Polish. And what we have was, this was an idea, this was an opportunity for us to learn, to exchange knowledge and to exchange good practice and to exchange experience by interviewing female engineers who had set up their business and who were willing and wanted to share their experience of their entrepreneurial journey with other female entrepreneurs in engineering who are at the start of that process. And these proved to be particularly insightful. Each of them is an interview which was broadcast live. So it was like we had like a webinar. So we had quite a good attendance on these webinars and question and answer sessions from the female entrepreneurs or from the female engineers who were interested in entrepreneurship, in learning from more experienced female colleagues. And we had quite in each of these, we had quite a proactive question and answer session. And what we have now on the site was a recording of those interactions in those webinars. And those knowledge exchange ones worked particularly well. And as we can see, there's 3 in English, and there's also some in Turkish and some in Polish. So I'm giving the countdown. How long do I have here? 10 minutes. Okay, well, I don't think I'll take 10 minutes. But if we just play a little bit of this one. So here we go. So this one last, as you can see, is 30 minutes. This one, well, you can see is Catherine here, who's our moderator for today, and a structural engineer, Pauline, many years experience, very successful business, and yeah, it worked very well. And then if we go back again to our online platform, which just takes us to our innovation events. Oh, I can see my countdown here. So we can see we've quite a wide variety of events here. So, for example, this one was held, I think, in Poland. So I'll just play this for a little bit. So you get a feel for this particular innovation event. These were events which were held by each of the partners. I'll just pause it there for 1 second. These were events that were held by each of the partners to encourage interest in engineering and in entrepreneurship, and then they were video recorded, and then we've uploaded them now to the online platform for other people to benefit from the insights and the discussions of what happened. So I'll just play a little bit of this Polish one, just to give you a wee bit of an insight into this one. Can you hear this? No, you can't. Okay, so you have to. You can only hear me talking. So, okay, so I'll pause it there. I'll pause it there. So you can see again a variety. This was one that was held in Ireland. And then summarized by way of the video here. So those are our innovation events. Then if we go back to the online platform, so you can see that each of the resources then, which I've just discussed, are available in each of those. So those are the resources in Polish. And hopefully you can see that the thinking behind the platform is to make it relevant, but also intriguing and inviting. So here we have some lovely imagery, some quirky imagery, some engineering imagery, again, some inviting and novel imagery, and again, designed because we're, a lot of people are very visual learners. We're very visually literate these days, particularly in an engineering setting. So it was, again, sort of that visual communication was an important aspect of the online learning portal. And that's pretty much what we're going to take you through. The learning placement frameworks were led by one of our Polish partners, and they're involved in developing a framework that would present a mentoring opportunity or a placement opportunity for female entrepreneurs to be shadowed or to shadow an existing a female engineer interested in entrepreneurship, and to be shadowed or be mentored by an existing female entrepreneur. And that's that. So that's I guess as much. Hopefully that gives you a bit of a flavour for the online portal. I'll just go back to the English one. So what I think hopefully what I've given you a flavour of there, and I've only spent whatever 35-40 minutes discussing it, but you can see that it is it's a huge resource. There's a lot of very valuable content there, and we've tried to arrange it in an engaging and inviting and a logical manner. And I think that's due to the work of the partners. The partners have worked, really hard and consistently over the life of the project, in developing the materials and in curating the materials. And I'm very pleased. We're very pleased with the outcome. The number of learners on the platform is excellent. I think Anya, one of the previous speakers, mentioned that we would over 10,000 visits to the platform, and the average time per visit on the platform, which we can see from our back-end statistics, is over 35 minutes. So that's 10,000 people at 35 minutes. That's a lot of learning. I think it's something that we as a project and as a consortium can be very, very proud of. So with that, I'd just like to thank you very much for your time and attention, and hand you back to Catherine.
Thank you very much for that, Canis. It was really great to see all the resources online, and I think all of the partners will agree that when you work so hard on creating these resources, it's really nice to see them all come together and see them visually there. So that is great. So that's kind of the first section all wrapped up now. You know what we're about and you know where our resources are. So we're now going to break you out into your breakout rooms. Anya has put a little link into the chat. If you just scroll back up, we have a link to the Padlet. So if you would like to select the Padlet and go to the link, you'll be able to collaborate with us. And we would like you to take some time, and we have a little question on there about your misconceptions about engineering. So each partner, each breakout room will be able to have a little chat virtually. It just gives everyone a chance to talk face to face, and then also use the Padlet if you can, side by side to collaborate with the team. So if you all want to just bear with me one moment, and I will break you out into your breakout rooms. Got everyone back now from your little breakout rooms. I hope you all found that informative. You all got to have a little chat and kind of get to know what other people are doing in this field, and maybe a little bit of the concerns and worries that other engineers or engineering students have, or even just females who are interested in entrepreneurship. So I hope you all enjoyed that, and we would appreciate any feedback at the end of the event. So next we are going to have our interview with Rachel Montague. So I'll just share the screen now with Rachel, and you should be able to see both of us for our little interview. So everyone, welcome Rachel Montague. Okay. So I would like to introduce everyone to Rachel Montague, our guest for today. So Rachel is going to speak to us a little bit about her career, how she got into it, and just a little bit about being a woman in an engineering field. So Rachel, would you like to start us off with your name, just a wee bit about you and your job?
Yeah, sounds good. So yeah, I'm Rachel Montague. I'm from County Tyrone in Northern Ireland, and I graduated with a master's in mechanical engineering last year. So I'm still quite new to the engineering world. So I did an internship in 2018 with Jaguar Land Rover, where I worked in their sustainability team, and I mainly worked on vehicle interior air quality. And then at the moment, I'm working as a mechanical design engineer for a company called ARP. So I started as a grad last September, and with them I work on data center projects, so for multinational clients, which is quite interesting. So yeah, I look after the mechanical systems and the public health systems.
Brilliant, Rachel. Sounds very interesting and
yeah.
very high level. So just a wee bit of background on how you got into engineering, and as you said, you studied it at university. So how did you come to that decision when you were at school? What made you want to go into this field?
Yeah, so I suppose whenever I was at school, so obviously in Northern Ireland we do A levels, so the subject, whenever I was choosing my subjects, I wasn't really sure what I wanted to go into. Like, I knew I was quite good at maths, I was good at science, but had quite a hard time deciding what I wanted to do. So whenever I kind of thought about it a wee bit more, I did kind of realize that I've always kind of been a bit of a problem solver. And I suppose if I was to give a very broad definition to anybody right now, I would define engineering as problem solving. It doesn't matter what the field is. Basically, the one thing that we all have in common is that we're all problem solvers, and that's something that I've always enjoyed. So even going back to like primary school, I always enjoyed maths, always enjoyed science, and then whenever I progressed further in secondary school, I realized that physics especially was something I was really interested in. So then for my A levels, I chose maths and 3 sciences. And the school that I went to actually focused on maths. So a lot of our careers guidance and stuff did kind of push STEM, so science, technology, engineering and maths. And they did kind of push that as a field that is quite reliable for getting a job. And this was not too long after the great the recession hit. It was only a few years afterwards. So I think at that age, as a teenager, you were very aware that you could potentially go into a degree and might not be too employable afterwards. So definitely there was a big emphasis on STEM in general being quite good for employability. And then as I kind of looked more into it, I kind of realized I actually didn't know what I wanted to do. I knew I liked maths, I would like to do something like that. And then as I got more into it, I realized that engineering is a massive umbrella term for so many different disciplines, so many different industries, and so many different jobs. And I thought, okay, well, there's something in here that I can do. So I looked into it a wee bit more, and that's where I found mechanical engineering. So I basically chose mechanical engineering because it's definitely the broadest of all of the engineering disciplines. So we would do a bit of electrical, a bit of civil, structural, chemical, even biomedical at university. So the course I did at Heriot Watt, it was very broad, and that's one of the reasons I actually picked it, because I didn't really want to pigeonhole myself too early on. And yeah, I wanted to kind of get a broad range of skills, and then whenever I came to leaving university, I could kind of decide what I actually wanted to work on, what actually interested me, and it worked out quite well. And I think as well, one thing that really appealed to me about engineering is, even if I didn't want to be an engineer, I could actually go and work in so many different industries. So a lot of people that I were in my course at university now work in finance, they work for banking, they work in tech startups, they have a whole range of things. Like basically an engineering degree, again, just shows that you're a problem solver, and you can really apply that to so many different things. Like you're really not limited. I think a lot of people think engineering is the opposite of creativity, but actually there's a lot of opportunities to be creative in engineering as well. So you really, like, the world really is your oyster if you pick an engineering degree. And another big thing for me, so I've always known that I wanted to live abroad and things like that. And as an engineer, you're not really limited the way that other jobs are. So we could practice engineering in virtually every country. You're not really limited by the laws and regulations. Like, you just have to familiarize yourself with particular regulations, and that's really it, you're good to go. So for me, yeah, it was
perfect.
yeah, definitely, like it was definitely a really big appeal of mine to travel and work abroad and things like that. So yeah, I'm happy
so
I chose it.
it sounds like choosing engineering opened up so many doors and so many opportunities. And I think, as you said, being a solutions based person has so many benefits, and I think it's one of those transversal skills that no matter what field you go into, being a solutions based person is always going to be a benefit to you in a work environment and in any team environment. So it's really interesting to hear that.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, like, you're not limited as an engineer. Like, if engineering isn't for you, like, yeah, as you say, like, transferable skills. So
yeah,
you can do so many different things.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the things, and I know myself, when I was choosing my degree, it's very scary to pick one kind of discipline and decide that that's what you're going to go into. But I studied law, and I'm not working in law at all at the moment.
Exactly.
So I think it's good to know that you're not pigeonholing yourself, and you can broaden your kind of career aspirations. You could, as you get older and as you learn that there are other fields out there, and I think, as you said, mechanical engineering is such a broad spectrum, and there's so many different faculties and so many different sectors to go into. So one of my next questions for you, Rachel, is kind of what inspires you about engineering. I think you've answered that already in that last answer, but just if you could broaden on that.
So actually in my job at the moment, so in the Republic of Ireland, secondary school students have a year called transition year, where they can basically go into different workplaces and get work experience and things like that. So pre-COVID, whenever the TY students would come in, it was actually myself and the other grads, we take them for an hour. And the one thing that I always try to drive home to them is there literally is not one thing around you right now that hasn't been touched by an engineer. Like, engineers are responsible for so many different processes. There's literally nothing around you right now, whether it's obvious things like the building and the roads that you drive on and the car you drive, right down to the pen that you write with and the seat that you sit on. Like, there is an engineer at each stage of the process in designing things. And I think that's one thing that I've really learned about myself, is I get a lot of job satisfaction out of actually seeing something that I've worked on in the flesh, like it's physically built, like you can physically see your own contribution to something that you've worked on. And I think that's quite inspiring. And through that, then you have a huge opportunity to really make a positive impact on the world. Like depending on what you go into, like biomedical engineers are obviously positive in a very obvious way, but I think especially now with a lot of talk of like climate change and things like that, like engineers really are at the forefront of developing new processes and new products and things like that to become more sustainable. So you really can have a very positive impact on the world depending on what you want to go into. And I think that for me was probably what inspired me the most, and actually inspired me to actually pursue a career in engineering rather than going into something completely different. I actually did want to use my engineering degree for good, essentially. As cliched as that sounds.
Yeah, but I think it's a cliche for a reason. Everybody wants to go to work every day and feel some form of satisfaction at the end of the day that they've done something positive or they've given something back. And I think, as you say, sustainability is huge, and global warming, climate change, that all of that over the next 10, 15 years, everything is going to shift drastically. It's going to have to. So that's a very good point. So just going back to what we kind of discussed before we came on, within our Erasmus project, there's a lot of focus on sustainability. There's a lot of focus on inclusion, and within inclusion, there's a lot of focus on females in STEM, and you talked about that a little bit. So our focus is providing high quality, open access resources to women who want to become engineers and want to become engineering entrepreneurs. So what I wanted to talk to you a wee bit is about how it is to be a female in the engineering sphere. So kind of things like what challenges you face, what is the ratio when you were at university, and now whenever you're working in Dublin, what is the ratio of male to female, and how does that impact your day-to-day life?
So in my immediate team that I work on, so the mechanical data center team in Dublin, I'm the only woman out of 8. Then in my wider mechanical team, we're about a 5th women. And then in terms of senior levels, I think there's only 2 women hold senior level positions out of 27 in mechanical. So yeah, we're certainly in a minority. But I think it is important to, like, when you see 2 out of 27 at a senior level, like that is, it's pretty poor. But whenever you put that in the perspective of, there's only really been a drive for women to go into STEM in the last like 10, 20 years. So it probably not even, actually, probably more like 5 to 10 years, there's been a big push. Like my class in university was a 5th girls, and that was very, very high. Like my colleagues that I work with, I think the majority of those classes, you'd have something like 3 out of 200 and things like that. So I think there is definitely a long way to go, but it has also come a very long way. And I think, personally speaking, like, I don't think I've ever really noticed an impact. Like, I've been very fortunate anywhere that I've worked, whether at Arup or at Jaguar Land Rover. I never felt that men around me were treated differently to the women. And even in my class at university, I never really struggled with anything like that. Like, it was all very much like, you're there on your merit. So I think, personally speaking, I haven't really encountered too many problems, but I suppose the main problem that you're going to have is you are in a minority, and it is very, very easy to second guess yourself. It is very easy to get imposter syndrome, and to be quite honest, I would struggle to find a woman working in engineering who doesn't have that to at least some extent. And I think a lot of women in general actually get it, but yeah, I think especially in STEM, like, there is still a very long way to go in just getting more women into it, getting them interested and things like that.
I think that as you say, there really only has been this push. It's been talked about maybe 15, 20 years, but the push has only been on maybe the last 10 years. I know when we were leaving school, it was around that time that it started. And I think it's important that we recognize how far it has come, and the fact that women are working, and as you say, yes, the numbers seem small, but even that there are women in those high powered positions is huge. It's a huge shift.
Yeah,
And I
definitely.
think it's all about recognizing those wins, even if they seem small, but then also continuing to push this message. And I think it's important for girls at school and going through college to see, and even older women who maybe want to shift in their career, feeling stagnant and want to make that shift. It's important to know that that opportunity is there, and that they shouldn't be held back by those stereotypes and by kind of the historical view of engineering in general.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, like
I
even
think,
at the moment, like I'm working from home, fair enough, but what I'm doing it's not really changing whether I was in the office. Like I think, especially talking to TY students, like I mentioned before, and I've also attended some events where I've spoken to teenage girls who are picking their subjects to go on. Like there is definitely a very common misconception that engineers wear overalls and they're covered in oil and grease, and that still is around today. A lot of people don't realize that engineering is actually largely office based, depending obviously on your field. Like even I go out to site sometimes to inspect like what's being built, because I work in buildings, but you know that is quite daunting. You don't expect yourself to be there, but at the same time you just have to remember like you have as much right to be there as anybody else. And I think especially the like mechanical engineering in particular, a lot of people do assume we're mechanics, which is we're not like at all. Like I know a tiny bit about cars, but not the things people would think I would know.
yeah.
And I think like, yeah, I think a lot of girls are very put off, particularly mechanical engineering, because they think that they're in overalls and things like that. But actually in my course at university, like I was workshop trained, like we were taught how to operate like machinery and things like that. And I remember the very start, like actually hated those things, felt so out of my comfort zone. Like I remember in the first year, the thing we did was metal work, and you had to physically saw through like metal, and the lads in my class were flying through it, and I actually didn't get mine finished because I couldn't go fast enough, and it was very demoralizing. Then the next year we went on to actual machines, and sure, there was nothing holding me back there. So
And
yeah,
then
I think
that's more of your daily job now. That's more the reality of it for you. And I know that's different, obviously, for which field you go into. But for
yeah.
you, actually cutting through steel wasn't going to be
No,
part of your day-to-day job.
no, exactly. And I think a lot of younger girls especially are really put off by that. But
Yeah,
I think it's important to note that the reality is like you're not going to be doing physical labor every day. And also like if you are going into those like very male dominated things like a construction site or a factory floor or something like that,
yeah,
you have as much right to be there as anybody else. And I think it's
yeah.
really important to remember that.
Yeah, I think it's all about the confidence and knowing, as you say, knowing your place, knowing that
Yeah.
you've got there on your own merit. You have as much qualifications as anyone else, and it's about having the confidence to go through your job with that. And I think that falls into many fields where women feel maybe inferior. And I think that's something that just it's come from years of male dominated sectors. So, and I think it is changing, and I think with our generation it's definitely, we're moving forward. So
Yeah.
I think next, Rachel, we'll have a little chat about your day-to-day job. So just when we talked about you're not out on the site every day, but that could be a small part of your job. So just a rough run through of what your typical day in the office would look like.
Yep. So at the moment, the project that I'm mainly working on is in early design stages, so nothing has actually been built yet. But I suppose day to day, in the morning, you'll usually have a meeting first thing where the team gets together and we plan our workload, discuss any issues that are holding us up. And I think that's something that is really important about engineering, is it's very collaborative. You're constantly working with other people, like you're very rarely completely working on your own. So we have a meeting every morning to discuss things like that. And then I normally go and work on some calculations, whether that's ventilation or water services and things like that. And then I'll normally review the construction drawings as well that we issue. And I'll also work on modelling of the various systems, such as pipe work for the water supply or ducts for the ventilation, things like that. And then a big part of the job is coordinating with the other disciplines. So as you can imagine, if you have a building, there's a finite space in it. And if you want to put in different things to cool it and to heat it, which is what I would mainly do, then obviously where you're running those type of things, it has to coordinate with people like structural and electrical, civil, the architect, like they all need to sign off and things. So a very big part of our job is coordinating with other disciplines and working really collaboratively. And then depending on what stage a project is at, I would be going out to site. So as I said, at the moment we're in early design phase, so there is no site to inspect, but if you're on a building that's being constructed at the moment, like you will be out on site quite regularly to inspect the systems and make sure that the contractor has constructed what you've designed, basically.
Okay. So what would you say is the most exciting part of your day-to-day job, and then maybe the things that excite you that you don't get to do maybe as regularly?
Yeah, so I can't talk too much about the specifics of my job, but I suppose when you work on data centers, the most exciting part is definitely the scale of the projects that we work on and the technical requirements of each project. So essentially, a data center is a big warehouse or a big shed that's full of computer servers. So as you can imagine, it gets very, very hot very, very quickly. So you get temperatures of over 40 degrees if you don't provide cooling. And that'll just rise and rise and rise. So that's the big energy drain in data centers, is providing the cooling. And that's something that as a mechanical engineer we work on. And it's really interesting to get to work on, like, essentially one of the most fundamental systems in a data center, and it is very technical. And as you can imagine, like, the tech industry accelerates at such a rapid pace, but so too do their data centers. And that means that we as the mechanical engineers, we need to keep up, basically. And I think as well, like, data centers, they do have a pretty bad reputation because they do require so much energy for their cooling. But it is actually really interesting to see firsthand what these companies are actually doing to counteract that and to really improve their energy efficiency with a view to making them more sustainable. Like, they're actually driving the energy grid to become greener because they can't just rely on the grid from fossil fuels. So these companies are actually really influencing the countries that they operate in to become more green. And I think that's something that's not spoken about enough. So I suppose, yeah, I think that's quite an exciting part of my job, is actually seeing firsthand, like, what these companies actually do, and just the scale of the projects. Like, these are absolutely vast buildings. And it's just, yeah, it's really interesting.
Yeah, that sounds very exciting. And as you say, I think it's important to point out, yes, people might see only the negatives, but they're driving change and trying to make things better for in the long term.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay, so my next question for you, probably this is actually kind of ties in with what we've just talked about, is kind of the impact that would bring you satisfaction at work. So maybe what areas that you would like to work in the future, that you kind of feel you're drawn to because of that sustainability or giving back?
Yeah, definitely. So I think sustainability is definitely a big passion of mine. That is ultimately why I actually became an engineer, was because I wanted to influence things in a certain way and make an impact some way, shape or form, to make things more sustainable. So I think, yeah, where I work at the moment, I think there offers a lot of job satisfaction because, as I said, like, you actually get to work with clients directly and you get to influence them, and you actually get to optimize the system and make it more and more energy efficient, which will have a huge impact on what you do. But I suppose in a more general sense, like sustainability, like, every single engineering industry, even oil and gas, has a huge sustainability sector, because most companies now are striving to become more sustainable in whatever way that is. So whether that's transport, like your cars and your planes, or even materials and processes and energy generation, like basically every single aspect of the engineering industry can be made more sustainable. And I think that's just like such a big sector to work in across the disciplines that, yeah, I think really does offer a lot of job satisfaction, and I'm very fortunate to work for a company that really does place sustainability at the core.
Yeah, I think it's nice to look back when you leave a job or at the end of your career, to look back and know that you did work with a company that has those core values that you carry through from, and that's what everyone wants from their job. So I think that's really important.
Yeah.
So I have a question coming in here just from one of our participants. So Sarah M wants to know, would you ever consider starting your own business in engineering, in mechanical engineering?
Yeah, so personally, it's not something I have considered. As I said, I only graduated last year, so I'm still quite junior, I'm still quite early on in my career. But I suppose whenever I was very young, I did want to be an inventor when I grew up. So maybe one day I'll come up with a clever idea and start my own business. But for now, I'm quite happy working as part of a firm, as part of a team. And I like the direction my career is going in. But yeah, definitely never say never. Like if that opportunity ever did come up, like obviously there's risk with it, but with risk you get benefit too. So who knows?
Yeah, I think as well, a lot of engineers, especially female engineers, have the skills and qualities that you need to be an entrepreneur. You know, they are confident, they know what they're capable of, and they're probably quite risk averse, but in a good way where they can weigh up the pros and cons of things and they can make those calculated decisions. And as you said at the start, you're solutions based. So I think that's quite good for entrepreneurial mindset as well.
Yeah.
And I just have a last question for you, and I will read some more of the questions coming in here now. But my last question for you would be, what would you say if you had to speak to girls in school or in college at the minute who may be considering going into an engineering field or choosing to study an engineering subject?
Yeah, so I think the first thing I would really say is don't be put off, like don't be swayed by other people's opinions. Like if that's something that you actually want to do and you want to make a positive impact on the world by being an engineer, then do it. There's absolutely nothing stopping you. The world is your oyster. And I think it's very easy to get put off because like even myself, like not so much actually where I work, but like just in general, like I've met people outside of work and things like that, and I tell them what I do and they'll make a face, or sometimes they'll say, oh, you don't look like an engineer. But like, what does an engineer look like? And I think that's something that really does put a lot of girls off. But you do look like an engineer, because there is no definition of what an engineer should look like or how they should act or talk or anything like that. And I just think, yeah, like just don't be put off. Like there's a huge range of industries and jobs that you can go into. And yeah, as I said earlier, I think a lot of people are put off by the wrong idea of engineering and the reputation that it still has, and that it's a dirty job and like you're in overalls, or it's all men, like you're going to be the only woman. Like no, not at all. And even at the moment, as I said, I'm the only woman in my immediate team, but it doesn't hamper me in the slightest. So I would just say go for it.
Yeah, I think all those misconstrued ideas and that kind of image, and I mean, I'm guilty of it. When we were at school, I didn't consider an engineering degree, probably because I was terrible at maths, but also because I didn't really know that image of engineers that there is now, and I think it's shifting that ideology and giving girls that image in their head where it's not just out on a site and you're not in your overalls, you are at a desk and you might be designing things, and yes, you might be out in your hard hat at site sometimes, but you're capable of that, and to, as you say, just go for it.
Yeah,
I did see recently that the Mr. Men books have come out with a Little Miss book and Little Miss Engineer. Little Miss,
great.
Yeah, so they've come out with a STEM range, which I think is brilliant. So it is. So I'm just going to have a look here and see. I think we have a few questions. We have time for one or two. So if you could go back and give yourself some advice when you were at school, when you were at university, going through this engineering process and through this study, what would be your advice to your younger self?
I think immediately I just think like don't doubt yourself. I've been awful for doing that in the past. Like there was a lot of times during the course, over my degree, that I really did feel like I was out of my depth, but no, I wasn't. Like I got there in the end. Like I've got where I want to go, and I think if I could go back in time, I would just say, like, you know, with hard work, you can really do anything that you put your mind to. And also, I suppose another thing is, like, as I said, like, I really struggled at the time whenever you were picking your A levels. Like, I had no idea what I wanted to do. I remember feeling so much pressure at the time. But I think one thing as well that I would look back and say is, like, you don't need to rush finding your perfect job. It's okay not to have a plan. Like, things will work out. And yeah, I suppose that would be what I would say.
Definitely, that's very good advice. And just finally, one more question for you. Do you have any role models? So someone that these girls who maybe want to go into this field, well, I think they'll be looking up to you, but who else could they go out there and do a little bit of research on, and kind of who inspires you?
I suppose the first thing that really comes to mind, I don't know if you've ever seen the film Hidden Figures or read the book, but there's two women in particular in that. Like, since I read the book and then I read a lot more about them, and they're just unbelievable women. So there was Katherine Johnson, who now has two NASA facilities named after her, and rightly so, because she was a mathematician at NASA. She was Black as well. Like, you can't even imagine the hurdles that she overcame, and she started her career, I think, in the 50s. So before the civil rights movement really even got going, and she was working for NASA as a Black woman, as a mathematician, and she actually worked on the first space flight to the moon, where humans were landed. So I think it was Apollo 11. And like, you just can't even imagine what she overcame. And then also with her, another woman who worked at NASA at the same time as Mary Jackson, and she was the first Black female engineer who worked at NASA. So they actually just didn't allow engineers. It just wasn't a thing. So I suppose that's just who comes to my mind straight away, is those two women. Like, they just overcame so much, and at the same time, I'm sure they didn't think they were too special at the time. It just kind of shows, like, you really can do anything that you put your mind to. And I think, like, that's what if I'm ever talking to girls, like teenage girls or something like that is what I always try to drive home, is like, you can do anything you want to do. And I think women like that prove it. Like, they overcame so much, and completely like trailblazed for the rest of us.
Yeah, exactly. They're living proof, and their legacy is proof that you can really overcome anything with hard work and determination.
100%.
Well, Rachel, I just want to say a huge thank you for coming on and speaking to us today. It's been really interesting, and I definitely think it's very inspiring to me, and so I hope it's going to be very inspiring to our young engineers. And I just want to say a huge thank you.
Thank you so much for having me, Catherine. It's been really nice talking to you.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Bye. Okay, folks, so I just want to say again a huge thank you to Rachel. I think that was really insightful, and I think it's really good to hear honest feedback and honest experiences from real people. And that's what the Emerge project was all about, and what it continues to be about. As Candice mentioned earlier today, these resources and the website will be available for at least another 3 years. So please do feel free to go on and use those resources and download them and make the most of them. So I just want to finally say a huge thank you to everyone who's joined us today. We've had some interesting conversation, discussion through our interviewee, and also in our little breakout rooms. I really hope you've all enjoyed it, and thank you for engaging so much with us. After this call, we'll send out a little end of event survey, and if you have time, we would really appreciate your feedback and any insights from the day, anything you think we did well or anything that we could improve. So finally, from the team here at EUI and the Emerge project, just want to say one final thank you, and I wish you all the best.